Welcome to Zen Game, where we go inside the world of college sports. I'm here with South Alabama quarterback Gio Lopez for the second time, but a lot more stats. Last time we talked, you had all D'Eriq King stats on your fridge. It's pretty cool. He put that content out to social media and he shared it. So he
Yeah.
was he put a comment in saying that you got some told you got some work to do. But are those stats still hanging on the fridge, ready to go?
Yeah, they're still there. I didn't catch any of them this year. Got hurt a little bit, got to miss a game, didn't get to play the bowl game. So missed those, but I got close. I'll get them this year though.
If you compared your stats to D'Eriq King as a freshman, though, you probably would be a little bit more
Probably did.
favorable.
Yeah, I think he was playing receiver when he first got to Houston. So probably got him there.
Is there mentorship access to some of the guys who did have that massive success in D'Eriq and Greg?
Yeah, I know Coach told me he can get me connected with some of those guys. I mean, I'm personally got to see Carter play on this field
Yeah.
right here. So I talk to Carter all the time, even though he's in Las Vegas with the Raiders. I still talk to him about a lot of stuff. So Coach Applewhite told me whenever I want to, but right now I'm really just gonna learn from Carter. You kind of want to learn from people that you don't play like, for you can take those details that you're not training as much. So me and Carter play a little differently, so I just get to learn from him a lot.
I'm sure he watches every game as the former starter here, super accomplished quarterback. What were some of the things he was texting you this season, now that you're out there every week, that he thinks you can work on?
Just this timing with stuff. How I got told a little bit. He's like, you're playing too much backyard football. You're just out there playing. Like, get your back foot loaded, throw on time. Just stuff, little things like that. He told me, of course, play your game, but also like, man, don't be out here running around, breaking tackles, and just throwing the ball deep. And I was like, I know, Carter.
But aren't some of the, isn't that kind of, I was going to say, isn't that kind of what makes you great out there, though? Is that you're
Yeah.
just kind of out there having a good time?
Yeah, he told me he's like it's really good, but make sure we're taking the check down. We're not looking deep all the time. So it's just stuff like that just helped me a little bit.
Were you always a quarterback?
No, I started playing quarterback in ninth grade. I was playing safety and running back.
I was going to say the running back
Receiver.
thing's not surprising at all, because
Yeah,
your running instincts are, you kind of run like a running back at quarterback.
yeah,
You don't really like kind of take, you could see the instincts are there.
yeah. I can. I took a little bit. I say I still got some running back in me, but it's going away a little bit. But it's still there. It's still
I don't know. It looked like the games I'd watched, the only thing that was going away maybe was the turf toe. Maybe
there.
made you
Yeah,
a step slower, but
yeah.
I feel like the instincts are there. Do you watch any Lamar Jackson? Because I think that there is his game that I kind of see in yours that you don't see very many players possess at all.
Yeah, I watched a lot of Lamar when I was younger, and then I realized, like probably about a year or two ago, I was like, Lamar was playing at about 180. I'm playing at like 215. So I'm more kind of started watching other players, and Lamar, of course, I mean, it's awesome to watch him run around, but just kind of paying attention to like older players like Randall Cunningham, how he played the game. Michael Vick, actually, I wear 7 as well as him. We're both left-handed, so that's a cool deal we got going. But just watching other players and how they ran around as well. I need to learn to slide a little more probably, but yeah, I try to take away from everybody.
Did Vic slide a lot?
I don't think he did.
I don't
No,
remember. I don't
Vic didn't
remember him
slide that
sliding
much.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he actually probably is a decent comparable because of the lefty thing. It's probably easier to watch his like highlights and his
yeah,
previous tape and say you could visualize yourself doing some of those things more, because when a guy's throwing the other way, it
yeah,
probably just doesn't feel as similar. And probably more natural to watch Vic stuff and be like, I want to kind of be like that.
but yeah. Watching Lamar, I was kind of catch myself like, got to turn my body a certain way. But with Vic, I could see the same throw he's making. I'm like, I can do that kind of deal.
Are there any guys in the team that can beat you in a race?
Yeah, I mean, most of our receivers are DBs, of course, but there's some. You'll be surprised. Like I can run a little bit. These guys, they'll think I'm not running like that, but I can run with most of them.
I'm not surprised at all after watching the stuff, but I think that the
Yeah,
bigger part of your game isn't necessarily the straight line speed, though, it's the quickness. Like,
yeah,
I think that the mental instincts to go run where you're supposed to and get to full speed fast. That's what reminds me of Lamar, which
yeah,
like you don't necessarily see in a lot of there's parts of your game that you don't see in a lot of running quarterbacks
yeah,
that you guys, even though he's doing it from the opposite side, that
yeah.
you guys do have in common, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I mean, I say for me, kind of helped me like just thinking quick line, like getting to places, spots that you need to get to with my mom. Like playing basketball when I was younger, my mom would be like, just take your points. If you got a layup, take a layup. If you got a 3-point, shoot the shot. But if you got a layup, take it. So for me, it's like, all right, like I'm not trying to hit a home run. I'm just trying to get side to side, get spots, and it kind of just helped me like the way I run now. Like my mom just be like, just kick your yards, take your yards. So now I'm like, okay,
Yeah, and I think that oftentimes that's what ends up leading to touchdowns is, hey, if I don't see an open receiver quickly, if I can get 5 yards on the ground, that might get us a first down and
yeah,
open up that big play opportunity where you can sling the ball downfield
yeah,
30, 40, 50 yards,
yeah, absolutely,
get someone open. And you guys are unafraid to do that.
yeah. I'm not afraid to throw the ball down the field, I would say.
a lot of people like are kind of wishy-washy about it. You know, you'll see some guys wait till the end of the portal cycle and enter.
Yeah.
Yeah, people trying to back channel stuff, all sorts of weird things. You wasted no time before I think before the portal even opened. You put out a social media post instantly. A lot of leadership to your team. Say, I'm not going anywhere. I want to be here. One of my favorite clips of a. I love that clip of the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
How did you have such a strong grounding in the fact that you knew this is where you wanted to be?
Just from a development standpoint, I mean, I know a lot of people are transferring, looking for NIL, looking for money, and of course, like you want those things as a natural human instincts. But for me, it was just like I like where I'm at. I love the offense I play in. I love playing for Coach Applewhite. I think we have a lot of great players here, and I have a whole bunch of I have a lot of unfinished business here that we didn't get accomplished. So I'm like, why would I not go after that again?
This was a unique year in the portal
Yeah,
because last year it was like up until this season, it was very like behind the scenes, how much guys were getting paid, how those processes were going. This was bizarre when you go on like on three or 24/7 and you'd see contracts being announced. You
sure.
know, it was a strange thing to go see Bo Prabula, who we barely saw ever play much college football besides a few injury replacement games, get $1.5 million. You see it, you see them announce the contract to Missouri,
Yeah.
which was a strange thing. Were there days that you sat and saw those things and it was just weird?
I would say, like, everyone, you have those thoughts where you're like, you get a little like, oh, like I was watching him, like, that was either Penn State
Yeah,
quarterback
yeah,
coming to Missouri. I
yeah.
was like, man, like, I played a lot more than this guy.
I know. I was like,
I was like,
I was just thinking, what do you do?
and selfishly for a second, I'm like, man, I mean, like, I can go get that. But no, like, you just got to get back grounded and be like, I know where I want to be at. But I will say it was pretty crazy seeing those numbers come out, especially seeing guys that I've, like I feel like, man, I've played more than him, and I was like, to each their own, good for him getting that money. But it was just like you seeing those numbers come out, you're like, man, like I think Tulane's quarterback going to Duke got some crazy number
Four,
as
four
well.
a
Yeah,
year for
something
two.
crazy.
8 million 2 years, I think
Yeah,
was the whole deal.
yeah.
It's wild to see money thrown around for people of such limited experience.
This is different when you see the kid from Mensa. He
Yeah.
goes to Duke. You're like, all right, this guy played a whole season. He's a baller. Like, okay. But then you see like certain guys who you're like, okay, he played in 2 games, but taking a chance on him, and I'm like, yeah, it's got to be a lot of shots in the dark you're kind of doing, just seeing like, oh, I like what I saw from that certain experience of what I got to see. So to each their own, I guess.
Yeah, but I feel like in your case, it's really unique. And I think that's just interesting for things to understand on my end, how, you know, maybe the upbringing or what's within you that makes that not like so many players in college sports right now. The priority is making as much money as you can through these 4 years, and five in some cases, you know, trying to show off the bling. And I don't feel like any of that stuff gets to you in the way it gets to a lot of people.
Yeah, I would say like that kind of came from my father. Like I watched him become a early car salesman, not bringing in that much money to becoming now he owns his own business, and just more like with him, like he had deals that we would have to like we're living in Madison, Alabama, and he was like getting offers to go to Texas, and that was more money, but he's like be away from family. Just like I'm good where I'm at, like I can do this. So like kind of seeing my father, like he didn't. Of course, you want to have the nice things in the money, but if you're comfortable where you're at and you have a good situation, there's no reason to bounce around. I don't want to be a person that, yeah, when I graduate, I'm like, yeah, went to 3 schools. I don't want to do all that. So
That's one of the things I love from our first conversation. I talked about it a little earlier, but you see the vision with Derek. He's a guy who kind of gets to open a door, and Greg Ward, I think, to a large degree too. All these guys that open a door where you can see the ceiling of what you're able to accomplish. And if that happens, you got a great chance to go play at the next level and do this thing you love. And I think is there kind of an aspect too of not wanting to get distracted from that mission of continuing to play even more so than making money?
I didn't personally know Tolbert, but I saw Tolbert go to the NFL and then
Hmm.
watched Carter go to the NFL. And JP was at Tuskegee, then came to Jamal Pritchett came to South, and he did 3 years here. And now he has a good chance going to the NFL. And we got a couple more guys like Jaden Voisin and Bubba and some other players that have a chance too. So it's just watching them. I'm like, man, like it's not like you can't make it here. You just gotta produce.
What are some of the things that your training staff worked with you on things that turf was kind of a freak injury, but if they've worked with you on anything that maybe this next season you can kind of take to stay healthier, and maybe recovery or other items that can just keep your body more
Yeah, I
resilient?
mean, the biggest thing for me was they said you gotta slide. You gotta start not taking so many hits. I know this season I only slid. I got told this 2 days ago. I only slid 4 times all season. So they're like, hey, like you've been hurt. You played hurt for the whole season. You still weren't sliding, and you're still taking hits. So like we gotta be better with that aspect of things.
Prediction over under 15 slides of this season. Are we going over or under on maybe you had 4 this season? I think we're gonna have over or under. No, I'll go 12. Over or under
12.
1 slide per game.
I think I'm gonna say over, hopefully, but it's a good chance you take the under. Yeah,
It's not a confident over.
it's not a confident over.
That we can even slide once per game. So maybe improvements,
Maybe
but
improvements.
unlikely. What are some of the other things that you maybe being talked about that from like a recovery perspective that you can do off the field to keep the body more resilient?
Just more stretching. You want to stay mobile. You get in football. You get put in like weird angles and weird hits that your body doesn't train that much. So when you are more flexible and more durable in those, you know, vulnerable motions, then if you're more stretched and more, strengthened in that like activity, then you should be honestly healthier.
What's the craziest story from the season this past year that maybe people didn't know about?
People don't understand like like when you're watching from like the outer works of the game, you're thinking it's just all serious, but like there's a lot of laughing going on. Like we're playing Northwestern State right here, and like the O line's just like talking to the D line, and you think like it's like trash talk, cussing and all that, and they're literally just like having conversations. Like I remember hearing Kenton Jarrett on number 69, my guard, like, "Hey man, those are some cool cleats. Like, where'd you get those cleats at?" I was like, "Kim, like, I'm about to snap the ball." Like, and it was just hearing that was pretty funny. I'm like, that's so random. Like, I don't know how you even get to that topic playing right now.
That game, everyone was pretty laid back.
Yeah,
I don't think,
everybody
I
was
don't
pretty
think,
laid
it
back.
doesn't sound like, I guess their
Yeah.
defense, I think when you went down probably like 50-3,
Yeah.
their defense was something like that. The score was in that range.
Yeah.
The defense was probably just not that worried anymore. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we got to get through this game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that we're worried about hitting anybody.
Yeah, I'd say the craziest thing was probably getting told, like, I mean, I was already out the game, but getting told they were this fourth quarter is going to be 6 minutes. Like, we're cutting it down. I was like, wow, I've never seen that before.
I think that's one of the parts of it too, though, is a guy like Bishop, like he's getting in there and like this is his opportunity to put some stuff on tape and show
Yeah.
what he's learned in practice and
Yeah.
show what he's capable of, and it helps for later in the season because you did need him.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of sitting on the bench and watching him this season when you had to?
I would say in the bowl game, he broke that. I think it was a 52-yard run or something like that, and you don't get to see it in the camera, but he almost slips and falls on the rocks, and like I was like, that could have been really bad. And he comes to the sideline, he was like, bro, that was really bad. It could have been really bad. I was like, yeah, dude, oh my god, but it was funny. He's a baller though.
Who are some guys on the team that you think are just like right on the verge of a breakout in 2020?
Anthony Eager, slot receiver, number 11. He was just behind Jamal Pritchett last year. That's tough to be behind a Senior Bowl player. So
Yeah.
I think he can be a really great player. Devin Voisin, had a bad knee. He'll come back. He had a bad knee. He was fighting through it. He tore his knee my freshman year. Last year, was kind of playing in a brace. This year, he'll be really good. And I would say the one that can break out is PJ Martin. He's a running back. He'll be rotating with Cantrell, but he's a really good player. He can ball.
And he'll get a chance this year, just more carries available.
Yeah, and then defensively, I'll say Ty Goodwill is he's a really good player as a safety. He'll be a baller.
Put on some hard hits.
Yeah, he'll be really good.
Luckily, you don't have to take any hits in practice.
Yeah, I don't
you
gotta
have,
take
you have
any.
to find out.
Yeah.
Who's the hardest hit you've taken your whole college career?
Hardest hit I've taken. I know people would probably think it was that LSU clip. I got smoked against LSU. But actually, it wasn't that bad of a hit. It's just the helmet popped off. I would say the hardest hit I took was Georgia Southern. It was on the, I'm actually right over there. A guy get tackled, and it was 15, the linebacker. I don't know his name, but he was like 250 playing linebacker. And usually, with my stature, I can usually get hit and fall another 2 yards. He was the first person that hit me, and I just went straight down. I was like, wow, that's a big boy. Like, I cannot go anywhere from this guy.
If you were to look back on your whole college football journey, what do you think the greatest challenge you had to face was?
I would say two. Of course, like surface level, the toughest was going the whole season with turf toe and having to get shot up in my foot every game. I was getting shots in my foot, the numbing and stuff. That was tough surface level. But more, I would say my toughest one probably was when I first got to college with Carter, and like just kind of losing a little bit of confidence in myself, seeing him throw it around, because his arm talent's like really crazy, and honestly, probably honestly one of the top 15 arms in the NFL, I would say. So like from an arm perspective, so like seeing that when I was 18, first out of high school, I was like, oh, like I don't know if I can throw a ball that well. Like I used to just really question myself, and then as I went on through practice and stuff, I was like, man, I can play with these guys. But that was tough at first.
What do you think the number one thing that we're going to talk to you again in the spring? What do you think the number one thing this team has to do during spring practice to be the best expression of itself come the fall?
Of course, every position group has their own detail, but I say as a team, we brought in a lot of transfers on the defensive side. So I'd say more just getting a more of an understanding and like how they need to operate together. I think offensively, whole line return besides Reed Bias, who's a great player. We got Asher, but he played reps, and then receiving core wise, we need to develop something there. But all in all, I'd say just developing like a understanding of one another and like how to communicate like what's going on, and just having a very competitive mindset and not getting flat-footed and just like comfortable where we're at. Like keep striving to be a better player every day.
It's a pleasure having you on. It's a pleasure covering your story, and I can't wait to see you in the spring.
Thank you.